You there, David?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
It's
Might
going
be,
good.
a,
I'm
might-
confused who the class is.
yeah, might be a lonely class today by the looks of it. What time you got, by the way?
I've got 2:33.
Dude, that's crazy.
Even the prop isn't here.
I think you're recording actually.
Oh, I am. Dang. Okay. I don't know how to stop. There it is. Oh, I'm not recording.
Oh, maybe the meeting just
Just
records
automatically.
itself.
Yeah, I think it does.
Oh, gotcha. Better not say anything too damning.
Perhaps not. Welcome to class, Christian. Are we still on Plato's line and Aristotle's metaphysics?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I need to get to work on my project, to be honest. I haven't done much work for that.
The one for this class?
Yeah. Have you done a lot of work for it?
No, I haven't, but I
Good.
didn't think it was that pressing of an issue.
Yeah, well, see, I have a lot of semi-pressing issues, and if you wait long enough,
Yeah.
they all become pressing at the same time. So,
I feel you.
yeah.
When is your presentation?
I don't know if we've decided. He said maybe before Aquinas, but I didn't think that was fixed. I just know I want to get it, behind me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was muted. But yeah, the professor's not here yet, right?
No,
It's
dude,
not.
we're the professor now.
Okay.
This is our class.
The session is still being recorded, though, Christian, so don't say anything naughty.
I don't plan on it. Yeah, I noticed there wasn't a link on the canvas.
Wasn't there?
Really? Yeah, I got
didn't-
it from the
on
announcements.
my dashboard. There's like no announcement for today's meeting, so I went to another link and clicked that. Did y'all get a link for today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't post it on my class. Are y'all in person or online?
We're online.
Oh, weird. Huh.
Oh, sorry. I guess no. We're technically in person.
Yeah, because I'm on the online class, so maybe that's why.
Oh, I didn't get the link. Where was it?
I found it in the announcements.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was for another meeting. That's the one I clicked on. Like I clicked on an old link to get here.
Yeah, that's. I clicked on the January 27th link.
Yeah, so we might be sitting in a room he's never gonna come in.
Oh, let me check again.
Yeah, because I was trying to make sure I wasn't missing anything, but maybe he just didn't.
Mason,
decide
are you in
class
the
today.
in-person or online section, Mason?
I think I'm in person, if I'm not mistaken.
No, wait, I am in the in person. Never mind. Hey, when y'all look in the announcements, or wherever you found that link, was it for today or was it for
Oh
last
yeah,
meeting?
it's just for January 27th.
Yeah.
See
Okay.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
thinking maybe there's no class today.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
Yeah.
'cause,
text him.
Damn,
yeah.
that breaks my heart.
Well, we can hang out until we figure it out. But
I wonder why the
I'll just-
session's like auto recording though.
yeah.
Oh, cool. I just assumed that there was just like one Zoom room that was just gonna be just always open, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, someone text me if class actually happens, but I have some homework to do, so I'm bouncing.
I just joined. Did he not post the link for this one? I was just checking.
Yeah. So this is the link we just clicked on was for last week's meeting, and
Yeah.
thinking there's just no meeting this week because we don't see a link.
Well, he's been a few minutes late before.
Okay.
I don't think he sent an announcement or anything.
Yeah, there's no new announcement for today.
while we're all here, would y'all want to make a group chat or anything?
I'd be down.
Okay. What like app would y'all want to use? Like GroupMe, Snapchat, text?
Any of those would be fine with me.
Group me would be good for me.
Okay. I've never
yeah,
made a group on GroupMe before.
Okay. I don't think I have either. I've just always been placed in them. Let's see.
Start group. Okay, so made a new group, but it's asking for a name or phone number. Does everyone have like their phone numbers connected to the GroupMe app?
I think I do.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
just post your number in the chat and I'll add everyone that is in here.
All right. Where's the chat? Oh, never mind. I found it.
Father Matt just said he's working on it now. Getting a link out.
Okay. I just added everyone who posted their numbers. Did y'all get that?
Yep.
A minute.
Awesome.
All right. I think he's gonna try to join this Zoom link that we're all in.
Oh, so there's not going to be a new one?
No, I told him we were all in this old one from January 27th, and he said stay there.
Okay.
They said he's having serious internet issues right now.
Hello.
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 Hey, y'all. I cannot get my canvas to work. So very sorry about this. Do y'all have a feeling that maybe anyone's getting left out right now?
I would say probably because like they're
Yeah.
going to be checking for a new link.
So my canvas isn't working. Would it be possible for someone else to put the link on Canvas?
Mm. I don't know anything about that. I don't think so.
I don't
I
know
mean,
if
we
we,
all just clicked on the old link, so the link should be there in their announcement still.
I know, but they don't know that.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Hey, y'all. And the other thing is I have to run out to my car and get my stuff. So I'll be back in like 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be right back.
all right.
We should be able to message them on Canvas.
Yeah, or we
Yeah.
could make a discussion or something, but they might not get the notification from us.
Right. Of course, I only have the online people on my Canvas. So,
Okay. Well, I'll message the in-person Jacob if you want to message the online class section.
okay. Yeah, because I think I'm the only online person in here right now.
Okay, I got that notification, so hopefully everyone else got it.
Okay, I'm getting close. Has anyone else joined us?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think
Did
Malia
y'all
did.
make an effort to try to communicate with other people?
Yes.
Yes, we sent notifications.
Thank you for doing that.
No problem.
All right. Again, I'm very sorry. It's been a weird day. But here we are. Good to see everyone. And I'm
I think all the
excited about this
online
class.
people-
I will say, can you repeat that, Jacob?
I think all the online people got their notification. I think Malia and
great.
Michael are the only ones besides me.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Malia and Michael, sorry for the confusion today. Totally my fault. It's been a weird day. This is one of the weird things that happens when your professor is also a priest, because life as a priest is crazy. But it's good to see everyone. I'm excited about this class. So let me just say, by way of housekeeping, I'm a little behind. I think that most of y'all have gotten me your desired thinker and any scheduling constraints. I know that I have like 7 or 8 of those that I need to get on the schedule. I haven't done that yet. I will do that today or tomorrow. And we're technically supposed to start Augustine this week. We will get to that, but not today. We'll get to that on Wednesday, okay? Because what we need to do before we start Augustine is take a look at Aristotle's metaphysics, okay? So that's the main thing that we're gonna do today. And if you can give me just 1 sec, I need to pull some stuff up, all right? Okay, I put the excerpt of the metaphysics up on Canvas a couple of weeks ago, so you have had that. Hopefully you've read that text. Like Plato's line, it's not easy, although it's difficult in a completely different way, I would suggest. All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Malia and Mirka and David, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I
good.
can hear you.
So I'm going to share my screen with you. Actually, yes. Wait, you know what? Yes, I am going to share my screen with you, because I'm going to put up the text, the Aristotle text. Okay, so you can see my desktop now, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
And actually, Father Matt, I just wanted to let you know I'm going to have to leave at like 3:30 today.
Yeah, well, we're going to stop at 3:30 anyway. Was that you, Mason?
No, that was David.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, you know, I might go 5 or 10 minutes over, but I'm not going to I don't expect you guys to stay on later because I was late. This is an advantage to putting things on my YouTube channel, but yeah, thank you for that, David. No worries at all. Yes, here we go. Aristotle Metaphysics 712. Y'all can see my desktop, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So last time we talked about Plato's line. We talked about those 4 moments of the line. Who can remind me what those moments are? Can someone remind me?
Just
What-
list the 4 items.
Yeah, starting at the beginning.
Yeah, we have images, then faith, then discursivity, then intellect or mind.
Good. Now, Jacob, just out of curiosity, do you think you know the Greek terms or no?
I mean, I can look at them on the page and tell you.
Yeah, so did you do that from memory just then in English?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah, read
Got it right here.
the Greek, yeah.
For images, we have acacia.
Good.
For faith, we have pistis. Discursivity is dianoia. Intellect is nous.
Perfect. That's awesome. Okay. So yeah, y'all, that was last time. Plato's line. We're dipping back into Plato and Aristotle as a way to get some tools and categories that will come back up when we get to some of the medievals, including, well, all of them, Augustine, Aquinas, and Bonaventure. Okay. So today we're doing Aristotle's Metaphysics. This is a translation by Joe Sachs. Oops, I don't know if I know how to make it landscape orientation. Do I? Rotate left. Boom. Okay. Yeah, this is Joe Sachs' translation of Aristotle's Metaphysics. We've already talked about metaphysics some in this class. Who can tell me what we've said about Aristotle's Metaphysics so far in this class? What does the term mean?
I think the term just means beyond or after nature.
Yes. What is the Greek word for nature?
Fuchsius.
Physics. No.
Yeah, that's right. You're both right. Awesome. Good. Very good. Okay. One sec. Okay. All right. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Good. All right, perfect. So we talked about Heraclitus and Parmenides also last time. We did that kind of quickly. Who can remind me of Heraclitus? What is important about Heraclitus? Tell me something about Heraclitus.
He said that everything was flux.
That's right. What's a synonym for flux?
In
Change.
motion.
Motion, change. The better one is change. Motion is a kind of change, okay? So yeah, Heraclitus thinks that everything is in flux. We talked about that as a blooming, buzzing confusion. I also suggested that it is a nihilistic worldview. It's a worldview of transience where there's no stability. So things like gender are not stable. Things like what Aristotle would call concrete particulars are not stable. Everything's changing. Everything is melting away. Everything is like those sand castles on the time-lapse video of the beach. Are you with me?
I have a question about that. If that's
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead. Who's talking?
This is David. I was wondering if abstractions would be stable. For example, the abstraction, the idea of change, because you're applying it to everything. It's everything's changing. So does the definition of change?
No. And you guys are awesome. And I think that David, you and others have asked about that sort of thing consistently, and it's great. It's awesome. All I can say is that Heraclitus is not thinking about immaterial objects at all. Okay?
Yeah.
And keep in mind that these are pre-Socratic philosophers. Like, we don't know, there's so much we don't know about them. But what they do and why they're important is because they inject some ideas into the tradition that get picked up and developed later. They set the terms for people's thinking. They literally create new possibilities for subsequent thinkers and also constrain the thought of subsequent thinkers. Does that make sense what I just said?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but so there's so much we don't know about Heraclitus, but I think that the best answer to your question would be it's prudent and appropriate to assume that he's only talking about material objects or material reality. Okay, good. Now, who can talk to me about Parmenides? What does Parmenides say?
That there's only being, that there's no such thing as non-being.
That's right. And so what are some implications of that?
Things like motion and change are like not real, that they're
Right.
only like not the true thing.
That's right. That's right. And so and what's crazy about Parmenides is that he can't define being. He can't say what being is. He can only say what
Is not.
what it's not. That's right. And so he has this string of negations. Being is not this, being is not that. It doesn't change. It doesn't involve parts and wholes, etc. Right? Right? That this is super important. He cannot say what being is. He can only say what it isn't. And what's interesting is that all of those negations, because that's what a negative statement is. It's a negation. If you think about it, all of those statements are negating finite reality. Okay? By definition, parts and wholes implies finitude or some kind of limit. And so you see, in reality, what Parmenides is doing is a double negation. When he says that being does not change, that's tantamount to him saying being is not limited. And being is not limited, if you think about it, is a double negation. It's like saying being is not now it's going to get really weird, infinite. Or let's keep it simple, because that's a triple negation. Let's keep it simple. Being is not perfect. Okay, does that mean that being is perfect or not?
The former.
It
Meaning
means that
that
being is perfect. That's
Yeah.
right. Now, is everyone with me on that? I think that's fairly simple. He cannot say what being is. He can only say what it isn't. And what is it not? I'll tell you what it's not. It's not finite. It's not limited. And really, that's a double negation. It's as if Parmenides is saying being is not perfect, which is to say that being is what? Perfect. That's exactly right. Y'all, if you can get all of that, you are well on your way to understanding some amazing things that it took me decades to wrap my mind around. I just want to say one more thing about Parmenides, and that is this. If you string all of those negations together, you get this thing. I call it a doctrine. That word doctrine just means teaching, okay? You get this doctrine called simplicity. And what Parmenides is saying is that not only, he's saying that being is none of those finite things. Being is none of those different ways of non-being. Okay? That's Parmenides. Now, we need to do Aristotle. I want to do Aristotle in a half hour. And yeah, there's two things that we're going to do. The first thing is we're going to talk about a picture that I put up on Canvas. Okay. Now, do y'all all know what picture I'm talking about?
I wasn't able to open that picture on my computer.
That sucks. Is that true for others as well?
I could open it on my phone.
Yeah, I noticed that the extension, the stuff after the dot was funky.
Yeah, that's the new Apple extension. So if you don't have the correct extension download on your computer, then you won't be able to open it on there.
Okay, so y'all, here's what we can do. And if you took my intro class, this is review. And if you're currently in my intro class right now, this is redundant, or it will soon be redundant. But I want to make it simple. We're gonna try to keep it as simple as possible, which I think we can do. And I want to introduce an idea to you. But before I do this, does anyone have any questions at all right now for me? Any questions or concerns right now for me? Remember that Plato and Aristotle both take Heraclitus and Parmenides and put them into dialectic, okay? They both like both Heraclitus and Parmenides, but they only half like them both. That's true for both Plato and Aristotle. Are you with me? Is Mirka here today?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mirka, how you doing over there?
I'm good, just listening.
Okay, are you confused?
So far, I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, y'all look with me at number 4 on the little outline. Oh, I could pull it up on my computer and y'all can all see it. Let's do that, right? I don't have to draw it again. And actually, I don't even need to go to Canvas because I have it right here. Yep. It's a really crappy picture, kind of embarrassing, but I don't care. I have no shame. Now, can y'all see this?
Yes.
This is called Aristotle's metaphysical spectrum. Let me hear you say Aristotle's metaphysical spectrum.
Aristotle's
Aristotle's
metaphysical spectrum.
And you can see on the picture that there's two extremes. One extreme over here, one extreme over here, right? And then there's kind of a continuum or a spectrum. Those two words are synonymous, a continuum or a spectrum between these two extremes, right? Now on one extreme, okay, let me say this. For the purposes of this discussion, everything in the cosmos falls somewhere on this spectrum for Aristotle. Aristotle thinks that everything in the cosmos falls somewhere on this spectrum, on this continuum. Does that make sense? And there's two extremes on the continuum or spectrum. One of them is prime matter, and the other one is pure form. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Now, y'all, one of those extremes is represented by Heraclitus, and the other one is represented by Parmenides. Which one is represented by Heraclitus?
Prime matter.
Prime matter, that's exactly right. Which one is represented by Parmenides?
Pure form.
That's right, pure form. Look with me at the extreme of the spectrum on my left. I think it's your left too, prime matter, okay? You see the box that says blooming, buzzing, confusion? See, prime matter, and by the way, that phrase prime matter, it pops up 3 times in the metaphysics, in Aristotle's metaphysics. Prime matter is utterly devoid of form. You need to write that down. Prime matter is utterly devoid of form. Whoa. Wait, it's only 10% form. Is that right?
No.
No, it's 0% form. Okay, no form. What is form? Well, For now, a nifty way to think about it is shape. Shape. We talked about the static screen from the 1970s TV picture, right? Did we talk about that?
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Is there any shapes in that flickering chaos of whatever they are? Are there any shapes? Are there triangles?
No.
No. Are there, cute babies?
No.
Are there acorns? Are there seahorses? No, there's nothing. There are no shapes. There's no form in prime matter. It's a big mess. It's a blob. It's chaos. It's a blooming, buzzing confusion. Look with me at the top box underneath prime matter. It's what Genesis 1:2 calls formlessness and void, right? Genesis 1:2, and the earth was formless and void, and darkness was hovering over the surface of the deep. This is prime matter. It's utterly devoid of form. It's a blooming, buzzing confusion. It's the stuff that Heraclitus talks about. Now, does that make sense? I want to say something else that I think will make it even more clear. And I want to direct your attention. Look with me at the prime matter extreme on the spectrum, and I want you to go a little bit toward the direction of pure form. Okay? Go a little bit toward the direction of pure form. Do you see those weird thingies? There's a blue something and a red something and a black something. Y'all see those weird shapes?
Mhm.
Those are the four elements: earth, wind, fire, and water. I didn't know how to draw wind, so I skipped it. But there's water, that's the waves. There's fire, that's the red stuff. And what's that black thing? Don't tell anyone, but it's a pile of shit. It's like a shit emoji on your phone. Just kidding, it's dirt. It's like a dirt clod, okay? Those are the four elements. Are you with me? Now listen. A pre-Socratic dude named Empedocles invented the doctrine of the four elements, a dude named Empedocles. But Aristotle and Plato totally bought into that. Now, how do you and I think that there's only four elements, yes or no? No. How many elements do we think that there are? I don't remember. If you want, later you can pull up the periodic table of elements and count them all, like 179 or something like that, right? Helium, plutonium, carbon, right? On and on and on. We think that there's like 100 something elements. They thought there were four. Empedocles is the one who invented that notion of the four elements, but Aristotle totally agreed with it. Are you with me? Here's the thing about the four elements. They're almost prime matter, but not quite. They have a little bit of form in them. You might think of it kind of like this. They're 5% form and 95% prime matter. Does that make sense? The four elements of earth, wind, fire, water. This is why the little shit pile is helpful, the dirt clod. It's a mess. It's nasty. It's utterly devoid of form. It's not beautiful. There's no shape to it. So the four elements have a little bit of form, but not much. Okay. Now, what if we started out at prime matter, and then we went a little bit in the direction of form, right? And we came to the four elements, right? Is everyone with me? Now, what if we keep going in the direction of form? What are some things that we might discover? Well,
We're somewhere on that list, right?
we are. So I think, we would find trees. Let me put it like this. Sandcastles. Sandcastles are made of earth. but they have more form than just a dirt clod or a pile of dirt. Ice cubes. Ice cubes are water, but they have more form than just water. Okay. But yes, what Plato and Aristotle and Empedocles would say is that even things like organisms, biological organisms like oak trees and turtles, and yes, human beings, because what is Aristotle's definition of the human being, of man?
Rational animal.
Rational animals. So we are animals. Now we're rational, unlike my dog Janie, but we are still animals. And so we are biological organisms. And so, yeah, we would be to the right of prime matter. Are you with me? And there's also artifacts. So I know that at least one person has said that they're going to do their paper on Bonaventure. One of the two, well, actually, Aristotle talks about artifacts in the text that we're about to read. Bonaventure's work on the reduction of the arts to theology talks about artifacts. What's an artifact? It's a chair. It's a man-made thing. It's a pen. Artifacts are not naturally occurring organisms. They're man-made, like my watch. Is this coronavirus mask man-made? Yes or no?
Yes.
It's an artifact. So artifacts are also going to be on the metaphysical spectrum. They're going to be kind of like in the middle, okay? They're going to be to the right of the four elements. Now, y'all, if you keep going in the direction of pure form, eventually you're going to come to numbers and shapes. Now, numbers and shapes are kind of crazy, and I don't have time to talk about it, but they're kind of like the we'll come back to it later. Numbers and shapes are kind of like the opposite of prime matter. I'm sorry, the opposite of the four elements. Let me repeat that. Numbers and shapes are kind of like the opposite of the four elements. Why? It's because the four elements are almost devoid of form. They overwhelmingly consist of matter. But numbers and shapes are the opposite. They're almost pure form. And they're overwhelmed and they're almost devoid of matter. All right. Now, if you keep going all the way to the other extreme, so we've talked about the extreme of prime matter, go to the other extreme, and that is the extreme of what? Who can tell me?
Pure form.
Pure form. That's exactly right. Y'all, pure form is utterly devoid of matter. It has no matter in it. Now look with me underneath the dot. Here's some other names that Aristotle uses for pure form. Here's the first one, theos. What's the English translation of the Greek word theos?
God.
What?
God.
God. That's exactly right. Y'all, Aristotle thinks that the opposite of prime matter is God. God is pure form. Wait, does God have any matter? Yes or no?
To Aristotle, no.
Right, for Aristotle. Side note, doesn't that sound a lot like what Parmenides says about being?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a coincidence. See, pure form is Parmenides. Prime matter is Heraclitus. Look with me under the dot of pure form. We've got theos. We've got the prime mover / the unmoved mover. These are all names for God. And then look at that third bullet point, thought thinking itself. That's one of Aristotle's names for God, thought thinking itself. We're going to come back to that, okay? But y'all, this is Aristotle's metaphysical spectrum. It contains everything that he thinks is real. Now, someone's going to ask me about thought and abstract stuff. High five for asking questions. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I need to say one more thing about Aristotle's metaphysical spectrum because I left something off the picture. I'm just going to assume that you're copying this stuff down, that you're making your own version of Aristotle's metaphysical spectrum. I hope that that's true. And if you're watching the YouTube video, please do that. What I need you to do is go over to the side that says prime matter, and there's another label that I left off, and I need you to write the word pure potentiality, the phrase pure potentiality, okay? Because that's how Aristotle thinks of prime matter. It's pure potential, but the word that I use is potentiality, okay? That goes under prime matter. You've got Genesis 1, 2, blooming, buzzing, confusion, nihilism, Heraclitus, and then I want you to write pure potentiality, all right? Go over to the other side of Aristotle's metaphysical spectrum, to the pure form side, and you've got theos, prime mover / unmoved mover, thought thinking itself, and I need you to write something else underneath that, and what I need you to write is pure actuality. Pure actuality, okay? Aristotle thinks that God is pure actuality, and God is utterly devoid of potentiality. Another way of saying that is that God is perfect. We're about to switch gears and go to the actual text, but I just want to say this real quick. Think about an acorn that is growing into an oak tree. Are you with me so far? The oak tree is fully actualized. It's the acorn that has now become fully actualized. Are you with me? But the oak tree is like the acorn. The acorn is like the oak tree, but purely potential. So if you wanted, you could draw a little acorn over on the prime matter side, and then you could draw an oak tree over on the pure form side. Because again, that oak tree is like, it's like the acorn that's all grown up. It's mature, it's fully actualized. But that acorn is like the oak tree that's merely a potential oak tree. All right? Now, we have about 15 minutes. I want to start reading the text of Metaphysics 12:7. Does anyone have any questions? I'm giving you the quick, super down and dirty introduction to Aristotle. Remember, Aristotle thinks that everything in the cosmos is on this spectrum. Everything from pure matter, which I encourage you to think of in terms of Genesis 1, 2, before God begins to impose order and design and form and structure and beauty on the chaos. Aristotle thinks that everything is on the spectrum, from the chaos of Genesis 1, 2, all the way up to God. Now notice, Aristotle does think that God is somehow in the cosmos. We can talk about that later. Christians wouldn't totally give him a high five on that 100%. Or Christians would want to qualify that in an important way. But y'all, that's Aristotle. That's Aristotle. Can we move to the text? Let's look at the actual metaphysics. And y'all, you've all read it. Now, Jacob Dunn said something interesting last class. I think it was Jacob. He said that when he first read Plato's line, that excerpt from the Republic, Book 6, he said, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. It just seemed unintelligible, right? And then you read it, if I'm interpreting you correctly, you read it a second time, bouncing it, discussing it with your brother, something like that.
Yes.
And it made a little more sense. But then I think, and I hope, that maybe you read it again after we discussed it, or maybe after you looked at the notes, and it made even more sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Similar things are going to be true here with this text, with Aristotle's Metaphysics, Book 12, Chapter 7. Although again, it's a radically different genre than Plato, right? Plato, like it's like a story or a play. It's like going to a Broadway play. It's like reading a transcript of a play, but not this. This is very technical and systematic. So it's different. I'm not saying it's harder or easier. It's still hard, but it's different. It's still going to be hard. What I want to do is go through this little outline that I have. Look with me at Roman numeral 5. This is my little outline of metaphysics 12:7. And notice what I'm calling it. I'm calling it Aristotle's development of the unmoved mover. What's another name for the unmoved mover?
God.
God.
God. We're talking about God. This is a class on medieval thought. Medieval thought is Christian, Jewish, Muslim. It's about God. Now, it's also about God's creation, but we're talking about God, okay? So this is Aristotle's development of the unmoved mover with special emphasis upon divine simplicity in Metaphysics 12:7. I was hoping to read it out loud in class. We'll see if we can do that later. Do y'all know what NB means? It's Latin for nota bene. Nota bene, it means mark well, note well. In Spanish, you'd say fíjate. It means pay attention to this. This is important. Note well, this text will be extremely important for anyone writing a paper on Thomas's 5 ways, okay? And I just want to go through this list of A through H real quick. Let's see if we can do this in 10 minutes. And I tell you what, I'm going to be extremely disciplined right now, and I'm only going to read. I'm not going to say anything other than the words on the page. I'm going to read the words on the page. Okay? Look with me at your screens. A, circular motion. C.S. Lewis will talk about this in connection to the model. B, heavenly bodies. C.S. Lewis will talk about this in connection to the model. C, substance. Sachs, remember, Sachs is the translator of the version of the metaphysics that we're using. Sachs, independent thing, or sometimes thinghood, okay? So whenever you read the text, this text, and you see words like thinghood or independent thing, that's talking about substance, what traditional philosophy calls substance, okay? D, actuality. This is what Sachs calls being at work. Actuality. Now, remember, was actuality on Aristotle's metaphysical spectrum, yes or no? Mason,
Yes, it is.
Mason, was it over here with prime matter?
No, it's in pure form.
Yes. What's the opposite of pure actuality?
Potentiality.
Right. Pure potentiality. That's right. All right. So that was D. By the way, the Greek word is energeia, which is energy, right? E, desire, and telos. We talked about that word telos last time. It means goal or end. F, the unique nature of thinking. Aristotle thinks, and you see it in this passage, that there's something utterly unique about thinking as an activity. Thinking or thought. By the way, this was the highest moment of Plato's line, was it not? Yes, it was. Do you understand what I mean when I say this was the highest moment of Plato's line? Okay. G. Aristotle thinks that there's some sort of correlation between beauty on the one hand and desire on the other. I'm going to read the footnote 9. For Aristotle, beauty is the highest level of the good. The lowest or most base level is utility. We'll come back to this later. For utility like beauty or even pleasure, For unlike beauty or pleasure, its telos lies outside of itself, that is, outside of utilitarian actions. We'll come back to that. But for now, beauty is Aristotle's highest version of the good. The lowest level is utility. The middle level is pleasure. We'll come back to that. H, oneness and simplicity. Okay. Now, y'all, we have about 7 minutes left. I think what I'll do, I'm gonna ask one of y'all to read the first paragraph. I'm gonna ask one of y'all to read the first paragraph, and we'll just see how this goes. I'm gonna end this class. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna end this class at 3:40. And if you have to leave, that's fine. I usually go over anyway, so I'm not penalizing y'all for me being late. Okay. In other words, this is a shorter class because I'm late. Who would like to read the first paragraph right here of chapter 7 out loud? Could I get a volunteer to read that?
I'll do it.
Great, thanks.
But since it is possible for it to be this way, and if it is not this way, things will come from night and from all things together, and from not being, these questions could be resolved. And there is a certain ceaseless motion that is always moving.
Stop. Do you see the semicolon after the word resolved? I just want to say to y'all, I have no idea what that's talking about. Therefore, you don't need to know what it's talking about either. Okay? Keep going, Mason.
And there is a certain ceaseless motion that is always moving, and it is in a circle. And this is evident not only to reason, but in fact, so that the first heaven would be everlasting.
Okay, pause. Now, we learned about circles there. Mason, what did he say about circles? Did he say anything about circles?
Isn't it that it's a ceaseless motion, an ever recurring circle? Yeah, and so what the hell does that mean? Well, I'm not sure, but if you think about it with me, can you see how a circle, like literally, if you think of a straight line like a pencil and think about motion, the motion can't go forever. You understand? Like if you start here, imagine that this is like a balance beam in gymnastics and you start walking. You cannot walk forever. You're going to fall and die. But it's different with a circle, right? With a circle, you could start here and start walking and you can keep going forever. That's ceaseless motion. And Aristotle, along with other Greek thinkers and pre-modern thinkers, thinks that there's something super important about that. There's something about circles that implies perfection. Now, one more thing before you keep reading, Mason. He's also talking about the heavenly bodies, is he not? Yeah, the first heaven. Don't worry about the word first yet. Just notice that he's talking about heaven. He's thinking about possibly the moon, but possibly the planets. Circular motion. Does the moon go in a circle? Yes. Do the planets go in a circle? Yes. So you see, circles are super special. They have something to do with everlasting motion. And this is connected somehow to the heavenly bodies, aka planets. Planets and stars. We're just going to say planets and stars and the moon for now, okay?
Keep going, Mason.
Before he starts, is he maybe also talking about like God is never ending?
He's gonna get to God. So be patient. He's gonna get to God. He certainly hasn't said anything about God yet. I don't think. So don't jump the gun. Be patient, and let's let these preliminary ideas sink in as he builds up to the idea of God. Okay, keep going, Mason.
Accordingly, there is something that moves it. And since what is in motion and causes motion is something intermediate, there is also something that causes motion without being in motion, which is
Okay, stop.
everlasting.
Something's moving. He's probably talking about the heavenly bodies, and he's saying that if something moves, something has to cause the motion. There's not just random motion. No, if there's motion, something causes the motion. He thinks there has to be a first mover, a prime mover. Keep going.
Which is everlasting, an independent thing, and a being at work.
Okay, stop. Did you get all that? An independent thing. Okay, everlasting, an independent thing, and being at work. Jacob, he's now talking about God. He's saying that the heavenly bodies are moving in this everlasting circle. Something has to move them. There has to be a first mover, and that first mover must be
God.
Well, hang on. Being in motion. Do you see my cursor, my arrow? Being in motion. Oops. Everlasting and an independent thing. He is talking about God. He's using 3 phrases to talk about God. In motion, everlasting, and an independent thing. He is talking about God now. Keep going, Mason.
But what is desired and what is thought cause motion in that way. Not being in motion, they cause motion.
Okay, stop. So all I'm going to say right now is that he's saying something really important about thought and thinking. He says that thought and thinking is some kind of he's saying that thought and thinking cause motion. Although thought and thinking itself is not in motion. And he also mentioned the word desire. Keep going, Mason.
But the primary instances of these are the same things. For what is yearned for is what seems beautiful, why what is wished for primary is what is beautiful.
Okay, stop. So y'all, he just said something super important. So on the one hand, remember earlier he's saying, oh, the heavenly bodies are moving everlastingly in a perfect circle. Something had to cause them. Now he's saying that same cause is also beautiful. He's talking about God right now. Can you see how he's just said 2 really important things about God, 2 things that are very different? On the one hand, God is a cause of motion. On the other hand, God is beautiful. Those are different. You could have a cause that's not beautiful, and you can have something beautiful that's maybe not a cause. But whatever he's talking about, and it's God, is both a cause and beautiful. That's important. Okay, keep going, Mason. Can you see my screen?
I was reading it off of I just pulled it up.
Awesome.
But we desire something because of the way it seems, rather than it seeming so because we desire it. For the act of thinking is the beginning. But the power of thinking is set in motion by the action of the thing thought. And what is thought thought in its own right belongs to an array of affirmative objects, of which thinghood is primary, and of this the primary kind is that which is simple and at work.
Okay, stop. See the word simple that I circled? That's the divine, that's simplicity. What he means there is Parmenidean being. It's the string of negations. He's saying that something, and it is God. And I don't have time to go into it super deeply. Just read it. Read it for yourself. Read it simply. Read it carefully. Meditate on it. Ask yourself, what is he saying? Whatever he's talking about, it's simple. What he means is it's not spatially extended. It doesn't consist of parts and wholes. It's that string of Parmenidean negations. Are you with me? And not only is it simple in that way, it's also at work. It's pure actuality. Keep going, Mason.
But what is one and what is simple are not the same. For oneness indicates a measure, but what is simple is itself a certain way. But surely the beautiful and what is chosen in virtue of itself are also in that same array, and what is primary is always best or analogous to it.
Okay, stop. Now, I think someone in this class, like on the second day, remember how I said, did I say that metaphysics is first philosophy? I think I did. Aristotle says that metaphysics is first philosophy. But weirdly, you can't study it until after you've studied the physics. That's kind of weird. On the one hand, it's first philosophy. On the other hand, it seems like it's after physics. How can it be both first and after? Here's how. What did he just say? He said, that which is primary is always best. You see, metaphysics is first in terms of priority or being the best. It's not the first in terms of the sequence of the curriculum, but it's primary or best, just like God is. Keep going, Mason.
And that for the sake of which is possible among motionless things, as the following distinction is makes evident.
Okay,
that
stop.
For
Do you see how it says for the sake of which? He's talking there about telos or purpose or end. I got out of bed. What is that for which I got out of bed this morning? Well, that for which I got out of bed this morning was to go to work, or maybe to provide for my family, or maybe to eat breakfast. That's talking about purpose, telos. Now, side note, that's also the final cause. Aristotle has 4 causes. This is the final cause. Okay, keep going, Mason. We're going to finish this paragraph, then call it a day.
For that for the sake of which is either for something or belonging to something, of which the former is and the latter is not present among motionless things. And it causes motion in the manner of something loved, and by means of which is moves other things. Okay.
Thank you, Mason. Very good job. Y'all, wow, there was a lot in that paragraph. And it's awesome. Like, if you're interested in these things, if you're interested in, like, do I believe in God? Do I think that God is real? Why do people think that God is real? How did these ideas develop historically? If you're interested in that stuff, this is a huge paragraph, and it's a huge excerpt. So yeah, very important. Now, we didn't finish reading it out loud. Is like, what do I think about that? Well, here's what I think about it. You need to read the rest of it yourself. Make sure that you've read this. And I reserve the right to open the next class by talking about this passage. I reserve the right to do that. However, next class, we are definitely going to delve into Augustine. So you need to have Augustine read. There's 3 books, 1, 7, and 11. Read them. Okay. Any questions, comments? Sorry I was late. Thanks for putting up with me. Great to see you guys, and I'll see you on Wednesday, okay? Peace.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you.